Prepare yourself for invasion. This is Indie Invasion.
That was a pretty sweet
up?
voiceover.
You like that voiceover?
I did like that voiceover. I did. What's up, invaders?
What's up, invaders? Welcome, welcome. We're on our regular night tonight for our fastest 30 minutes in gaming.
Kickstand, what's up, buddy? What's up? What's up? Actually, that voiceover reminded me that we had a comment on the YouTube channel beginning of the week, I think. Somebody went way back.
Way back.
And well, I guess it wasn't too far. And when I read the stories for Skullport and all the story stuff, they got zero traction, so I just quit doing it. He was like, "Oh man, this stuff's awesome." I was like, "Oh, well, thanks. I'm super glad you enjoyed it."
Yeah, actually, glad some people still find some of our stuff from way back when we were throwing everything at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Yep. Yeah, we knew it was you, Tyler. We knew it was you. I knew the nickname too. I remember.
So
I remember.
You remember?
So there you go. Take it away.
May 4th, everybody. It's Star Wars Day today. As if anybody can see, I got a little bit of some dudes hanging out in the background here, and I had to break out. I forgot I had this.
Let me grab something.
I dug this one out of the cabinet when I was looking for my regular coffee cup, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that. I think my son bought it for me one year, like probably Father's Day type of thing. So but yeah, I figured I'd put a couple things up for May the 4th.
Star Wars Day.
Oh my God, I knew you were doing that.
Wait, no, hold on.
Oh, here we go. He's just twisting. He's twisting that knife. I'm waiting for you to give me a nanu. There we go.
There we go.
Watto will work.
Throw Watto up in the background. How about that?
My clone trooper, when I moved him over here, my son had the classic black glasses with fuzzy mustache on him. So I had to take them. He had them taped on him. I had to pull them off. I'm like, yeah, I can't put that on the screen.
Look, it's Spaz.
What's up, Spaz?
And look, Watto looks like a little bird on my shoulder.
Yeah. What is he whispering in your ears?
Nothing good, I'm sure. Nothing good. So are you sure? Man. Not this though? This is no.
In a galaxy far, far away. Not
that was far away. That was far away.
Dystopian future that we got.
Delta
coming.
Quadrant, man. It's way out there.
Oh man.
I don't have a Star Trek coffee cup though.
Oh,
but I do have a whole bunch of ships. I mean, I can go get those and we can talk about them if you want. You know, I got some 3D printed Cardassian ships that I'm painting.
You were playing what the heck is it called?
Attack Wing.
Yes. Same rules as X-Wing, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And they all stole them from Wings of Glory.
That's true.
That's
right.
The flight path system is just ever so slightly it's Wings of Glory with a dial instead of cards.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Which I can't blame any of them because it's a great system. It's a fantastic system for any kind of flying game. So
yeah, it kind of made me sad that I think X-Wing kind of died. But you know, it suffered the same problem that a lot of card games do, is that power creep. You know, you start every expansion, you have to up the game a little bit. So you're constantly chasing that, and eventually it's just like people kind of get tired of it.
I think it was kind of for the Star Trek one. I think it was kind of good that it started falling off when it did. They still try to produce stuff, but it's like few and far between and not very well done. But since it kind of petered out when it did, it's not too broken. There's broken combos, just like with any of those kind of card games. But because it didn't have time to overbloat.
Yeah, you can just casually play it still.
You can. I mean, like I said, you can still get hosed by somebody. However, generally speaking, you can get away with it.
When somebody shows up with that big square block, puts it on the table.
Oh, see, that's the great thing about this. I mean, yeah, you can, but this is a everybody plays against it thing.
Okay. Because I know,
and most importantly, everyone plays against it and loses, kind of thing. Is what it is.
I mean, X-Wing had that too, where they did kind of a capital ship, that took up most of the board, and it was like a scenario type of thing. I don't think I ever got any of them, just because they were kind of pricey and limited play. I was like, yeah, it's cool and all that, but I mean, I found some of the old Star Wars miniature game. They had some of the capital ships, like a Star Destroyer and stuff, that I got, that I wasn't looking to play the game. I was just looking to put that sucker on a shelf or something and just stare at it, and marvel at its beauty.
I think my funniest X-Wing story, because I loved X-Wing too. That was a fun game. I liked it.
That was the first game I played with my wife.
I have played the second edition of it, and the thing that I like about that, I don't like that they changed the card sizes. I don't like that. But the thing I do like is they made it so that you can multi-fire your torpedoes and stuff.
Yeah.
I liked that. But my funniest story with that is when we were still having a big game night down here, we were like, let's do the X-Wing Mario Kart where you race through the track. Let's do that. Okay, cool. I'll make a trophy for it. So I got a TIE fighter. It's really cool. I think it was a Micro Machines TIE fighter or something like that. And then I got this golden Mario, and I put him on a pedestal, and I had an X-Wing stand made and everything. And it was really cool on this nice cherry wood block with basically a TIE fighter and a big Mario standing next to each other. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then I won. So I have the trophy right over there because I won. I never win at X-Wing anything. I was like, there's no way I'm going to win. And it's just because everybody kept blowing up in front of me, so I won from behind.
That's funny.
So I ended up with the trophy, and I was like, this doesn't really work. This kind of defeats the purpose of it. I made the trophy for somebody else, but I'll take it home and then give me something to have to dust off.
Well, you know what? Since we're kind of getting into talking Star Wars, why don't we just talk Well, here, Kickstand's asking favorite Star Wars movie. So, do you have a favorite Star Wars movies? Just the movies. We'll go just movies. There's 9 of them. Pick one. Well, there's more than 9, but I'd say let's just stick to the movies.
I mean, I'm obviously of the era where I'm going to the original 3. But overall movie, probably Empire.
Okay, so that's what a lot of people say. And, a lot of people, it's like, okay, do you want whiny Luke? You want whiny Anakin? Or do you want whiny, what's his face from the newest movies?
Right. What do you want with your wine?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I like Empire.
A lot of people say that one.
Yeah, just I don't know.
I go against the mass majority of the favorites. Of course, again, the original 3. For me, it's Return of the Jedi. I think a lot of that is because I can remember seeing that one in the theater more than the other ones. It was like kind of my first big Star Wars movie moment that I can remember fully. I mean, I've seen all the prequels and all that stuff, but just didn't have that same wonderment, I guess is what it is. And I like Ewoks. I'd like them.
So that's actually why Return of the Jedi is so high up on mine more recently, because watching it through with the kids.
Oh yeah, you get to rediscover it.
Are you kidding me? They lost their minds when they saw the Ewoks, and that was the best part, man. When they saw Wicket, they were like, "What?
Yeah,
what is that?" And the songs and the wub wub, all of that. It was just they loved them, and so that made it that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, see, he was kickstand here saying Empire too. And yeah, I still remember kids seeing it for the first time, and then with the newer ones, I actually got to take them to the theater and see those ones.
Yeah.
And we all dressed up for it and wore. I think one of those helmets made it out there.
So I would have to say my favorite. I don't want to say my favorite scene, but like my favorite big holy cow moment in all of them so far. I still remember because I went to go see Phantom Menace with my buddy. I think I want to say we were in Oklahoma or something. Anyway, we weren't where we were normally at. And we went, and it's ingrained in my mind is right when Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan are walking to go into the Gungan city, right before they dive into the water.
Mm-hmm.
And Ewan McGregor, I don't even remember what he says, but in that split second, his voice, it sounds like Alec Guinness overdubbed him to the point where I remember going home. Me and him went and we got the VCR out of the living room, put it in the game room, set up the two little TVs, and got the VHS tapes to just the right spot to the first time where Alec Guinness is like, of course I know him. He's me, right? In A New Hope, and played it back and forth, and we're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy, because he sounded just like Alec Guinness.
Now, did you watch any of the new series that they did with Ben Kenobi?
No, I haven't watched any of
it. Pretty good. That was pretty good.
I've seen a couple of clips. I was glad that they brought back Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, that was really.
I've heard he did a killer job.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Tyler, he's saying he's way behind, but he just started The Mandalorian. Very, very good series.
I've only watched the first season.
Okay, so the second season was good. They're on the third now. Actually, the third I think just wrapped up. I have to finish watching it.
But I mean, I'm gonna have to watch it anyway because Starbucks in it now. So
yeah, playing a character that was in the cartoon Clone Wars, and they're bringing her to live action, and Starbuck,
man. Hey, listen, I loved the original Battlestar Galactica, but I really did like. I like, at first I wasn't sold. I was like, wait a minute, Starbuck's not a girl. When I first started watching it, I'm like, hold on a second.
Some of the changes they made is why I didn't watch it. I'll admit it.
But Katie Sackhoff was killer as Starbuck. I really liked it. So
I like her in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, Spaz said he's heard people say Rogue One is their favorite.
Yeah, I think it gets compared to Empire Strikes Back a lot too, actually, with just the overall theme of it. But since we're talking Star Wars, let's talk about games, since that's what we do here, is talk about games. And do you have a favorite Star Wars game? Let's start with that.
Barring X-Wing, I really like Imperial Assault.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I like about Imperial Assault. As a one-off game, I could take it or leave it. You just sit down and play a game. I could take it or leave it. But we played through one of the campaigns.
Okay.
And it really got you the feel that you were in the Star Wars universe. It reminded me of my old hardback RPG that I have over there, the old Star Wars one. I don't even remember who made it.
West End Games. That's on my list. So
it might have been. But it really captures the essence of Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it's just that scenario based gameplay. That's what I felt like that too. And it's kind of a shame, I think, that they were really putting a lot of effort into that and getting it out there for some tournament play and whatnot. And then it's like, it seems like when Legion came out, it's like it got kind of pushed to the side, but it's still a viable game, which is cool. You know, you still play these scenarios and have fun with it, which is great. And I think a lot of stuff is still available out there. Now, I knew this was going to come up because I know Spaz was on here. He talks about this game all the time, and you can't find it anymore unless you want to pay some boku bucks on eBay. But he brought up an old game called The Queen's Gambit. Now, yeah, this one is from, it was when Phantom Menace came out. So you're talking late 90s. Hasbro made it. I think it goes for $100, over $100. But it was a basic board game. It had 3 levels. You had deck of cards that you're playing to do actions, and then you resolved combat with special dice.
Okay.
And it's one of those games that it was like a hidden gem. It didn't do well when it was out, but once it was gone, people latched onto it and just had a ton of fun with it.
Right.
$500 now, Spaz. Holy cow.
That's too rich for my blood for a game, man.
That's a lot. That better put you in that universe. Yeah. So, favorite game for me, I have a tough one because there's 2 main ones that I played in the last 10 years, like a lot, whether it was on a tournament aspect and, regionals and all that stuff. But it would probably be the LCG card game.
I didn't even think about that one. Yeah.
I mean, I like that one as opposed to the original from back in the 90s because it was like, I almost look at it as light deck construction because it had pods that you're taking to make your deck. But it was a lot of fun. It had a cool, like, resource management type of thing. And I did not, I'll admit, play very competitive because I played thematic decks. Like I wanted Snow Trooper deck, or I want a Star Destroyer deck. And then also X-Wing. I played that since it came out at Gen Con and played that for many, many years up until the point where they did the 2nd edition. And then I was just like, I didn't want to start all over buying, the kits to convert stuff and get new cards and all that stuff. So at that point I was like, well, I think I'm done playing competitively. I'll just play casually. So one of those 2, I think. I don't know which one I would pick over the other.
Well, I also had the opportunity. Now, I only played a couple of times, but I played Armada.
Okay.
And I actually really liked Armada. It had some pretty cool mechanics. I really liked the capital ship kind of thing. It reminded me of a more simplistic version of Starfleet battles.
Okay.
Because you had forward shields, right and left shields, you had aft shields, you had all of that stuff, and you had banks on the side, you had firing arcs and everything. Mm-hmm. So it reminded me of a much more simplified version of Starfleet battles.
You had to give out like orders and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, and you had to do orders too. So and that kind of reminded me of Battlefleet Gothic. So it was a little bit of a blend of things that I had liked, where you were really getting that capital ship feel, and that was what Starfleet Battles captured. You were having to. It was nowadays it's common to do resource management in games, but it was a really early resource management where you were managing your power. And so you were doing a lot of that same thing in Armada. And plus it was really cool because the ships you had the really big ones all the way down to itty bitty tiny fighters that were flying around. So it kind of gave you a sense of that grand scale.
Now I think Fantasy Flight one year came out with a Star Destroyer. I don't think it was a Super Star Destroyer, but even that they had to make it at like 25% of what it actually would be. And it was still like an 8-foot table. And then they had all the regular size ships flying around it.
Yeah, that's what I had wished they had always done with Star Trek Attack Wing, was kind of hit the scale a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think they did that pretty well as you can without, like you said, having an 8-foot Super Star Destroyer on the table. That they did I thought they did a good job of that in Armada, because there was such difference in size, even if the scale wasn't right. If this one was supposed to be bigger than this one, it was substantially bigger than that one in some decent way. So
yeah,
I think they captured that well. And it had a turn limit too. So it wasn't like X-Wing where it could just go on and on and on, where you're trying to run down that one last ship that's highly maneuverable.
Yeah, I think that would have made a difference in X-Wing if they had some kind of turn limit like that. Yeah. And it was kind of, you got points based on ships that you destroyed. So I think that would have helped speed that game up a bit. But after that, I basically wanted to go through this now. Let's talk about, because we're old, right? And we've already mentioned some of these old ones, but you mentioned the RPG, the original RPG, which came out in 87, and I think it ran to like the late 90s, and that was West End Games, which you can probably find the reprinted version of that. Fantasy Flight years ago. I don't know how they got the rights, if they just paid for it or whatever, but they printed out all the core books from that original RPG. And I know a lot of people picked it up as a collector thing. I don't know. I was spending my money on the X-Wing or something, or the LCG at that time, so I never picked it up. So that's out there that you can find, and there's tons of wikis for it still out there. There's a lot of people that still play it. And then also, I think the miniatures game, the original miniatures game, which I have a lot of them. A lot of people pick them up and they use them for, other miniature games.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're so cheap.
Yeah. Stargrave, Core Space, anything that is space sci-fi, Space Station Zero, 5 parsecs from home. They're all great models for that. What's the Starbreach? Starbreach has a specific rule set for stuff from the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, what did they call them? It wasn't.
Oh, I can't remember what they called them.
Mystics or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And Dark Mystics, something along those lines. Yeah.
Now, what about board games? Are there any notable board games we can talk about? What comes to your mind when you think of Star Wars? We already mentioned Queen's Gambit. It's an older game that if you want to spend $500, you can find it on eBay. But I
have Star Wars Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit upstairs.
Yeah, I think I have the Monopoly version that came out with the little metal figures.
The big gold box that's like this thick. Because it's got all the hotels are giant Coruscant buildings.
Well, you know what? Spaz said one of the first ones that I thought of, and he said Rebellion, which is that's a Fantasy Flight game. I think that came out 2016, I believe it was, and I know it's still super popular. Sad thing is, I have never played this game. I have not found a person that will play it with me. And when I think my buddies are in town for Adepticon, I always forget to say, "Hey, let's play Rebellion." I want to know how to play this.
Right.
And
now, that's the real big one, right? Isn't that the?
I don't think it's like super
Twilight
huge,
Imperium-esque. Nothing's as big as Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, it's probably right? Twilight Imperium Light, but it's kind of the same. I think same kind of top. You're the rebellions hiding in somewhere in the system, and the Imperials have to find your base.
I think I played that. I think Raul and I played that once.
It's a strategy board game, so
yeah.
Let's see. Spaz is typing a bunch here. Let's see.
Yeah, he's talking about that it's a 2-player game, not great for when buddies are visiting, and a long game. I think that's what I was hitting on, Spaz, like Twilight Imperium, that it's a long game. Rebellion is. You too slow, Alan. Too slow. We already hit Imperial Assault. That was the first one for me. That's a fun game. I love Imperial Assault.
So now here's one that I played a couple years when it first came out, and they just came out with an expansion for it, which I haven't tried yet, but I know it needed expansion, was Outer Rim by Fantasy Flight. That one was really neat. It was basically a pickup and delivery type of board game, but you're, as the title says, you're the Outer Rim. You're playing smugglers and spies, and the Imperial are in it, and you got Han Solo, and you're flying the ships through the the outer rim, and going on different missions, and they got cards that you can maybe go bounty hunt different people, and that's a fantastic fun game. I can't remember how many times we played it, but we played it to the point that one of our group figured out what to do to win the game every time. Because you can swap ships and upgrade this, upgrade that, and it's just like, he became a little hard to deal with playing that game. But that was a fun game.
Tyler said there's a new Star Wars video game released too. I'm not much of a video gamer, but I can imagine that the Star Wars universe plays very well into the style of video games that play nowadays, where it's the adventure, I don't know what they call them. There's acronyms for it, but the living world or whatever that is. I don't play video games. I'm sorry. I'm surrounded by tiny plastic men and paints. So.
Okay, so
if I try to paint the TV while a video game's on, somebody's
that wouldn't be good.
Is gonna get mad at me.
So we already mentioned some of the card games. My favorite LCG card game, but I did like the original from back in the 90s. I was kind of like at the time that card games were coming out, like Magic and Pokemon and stuff. But one that came out was a couple of years ago, and I remember this was huge. It was hot. You couldn't even get the darn thing. Was the Star Wars Destiny. That's the one that uses cards and dice. It had like custom dice in it.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
Man, you could not find that for nothing for like at least a year. And there was a huge third market, second market, whatever, for those cards. People were
black
buying
market
them
for your Destiny cards.
Basically, it's like, man, I needed that Darth Vader. And I remember that was like one of the big chase ones that everybody wanted. And I have two of the starter decks. I don't think we ever tried it. Of course, I got it when the game was already dying. I don't know. I can't remember if it was just, it got to the point where it was overproduced, or like card games we said before, the power creep. I think it got to that point where people were always building the same thing. So it wasn't as fun anymore.
That's Alan had a comment on that. He said and he would know, being a game store owner, that too slow to release product. That's definitely something that'll kill a product. That's a tough thing. I imagine that a lot of the time for games like that there's meetings around the table of how do we avoid that, because that kills games when they just bloat and get.
I think it's not just so much the planning, it's the production. If you have issues with production where it delays stuff, man, that's going to throw that monkey wrench in there when everybody's just foaming at the mouth to get that new stuff.
Absolutely. Speaking of new stuff, did you back the new Twilight Kickstarter for the journal?
Yes, I did. I had to pay more shipping because I ordered the catalog too. I wanted to support them, and I thought it would be kind of neat to get the little catalog so you could see everything. Because I don't know how many times I've gone to the website and just looked through all the different factions and look at that one. Look at that one. I still
have a small handful of stuff I have to paint. I have 2 factions painted. And then I ordered the Drogu.
Okay.
Drogu. And I don't have them painted yet. It took me a long time to decide on a color scheme. And
that's a hard one for a color scheme. That's why I wanted to get that catalog, maybe to help, give me some ideas.
And then life happens,
Yeah.
Your paintbrushes get dry.
Well, speaking of painting and minis, how about some mini Star Wars games? There's a new one that I know everybody is clamoring for, but it's Shatterpoint. That's the new one by Atomic Mass. We've mentioned it before. And that one, I think, is similar to their other game, the Marvel Crisis Protocol, where it's small skirmish dudes doing, scenarios. I think anywhere from 3 to 5 minis. Now, I checked this out. I think it's supposed to come out July, August. I checked out what this core is, and I am not kidding you. I think it's retailing for $160.
Wow.
I know. I was like, what, are they nuts? I don't need it that bad, but I think this thing comes with, of course, your rules, your minis, but I think it's coming with terrain in it too, like a lot of terrain. So I think that's jacked up the core price of this box.
Well, if the
I don't know,
mechanics run as well as Crisis Protocol, you're going to be able to do some cool stuff like force powers and things like that are going to be really neat.
Because they already got like box sets where you can get Ben Kenobi and like a bunch of clone troopers and stuff. So
I've only played Crisis Protocol maybe half a dozen times, but every time I've played it, I really feel like you're getting the vibe of each one of the heroes and their abilities. So I'm kind of excited to see what you would be able to do with the Jedi, because everybody else is just going to be, they're going to have some kind of ability, but it's going to be, for lack of a better word, sort of a generic ability, because they're going to have a gun or they're going to have a special ability because they're a smuggler or something. But the force powers, I think that's going to be pretty cool.
I don't know, that price is a killer for me. I'm like, what do they think they're Games Workshop or something?
Well, I think it's going to depend on what's in the box too, though.
Yeah. I know they've released a lot of that stuff. I need to dig deeper in. Maybe there's a lot of cards too. I don't know what all comes in there.
Or how many models come in the box.
Yeah. I know it's enough to get you started and going and stuff. And I think their plan is to each box they come out with that's a squad or something. That's all you need. You don't have to go buy one guy here, one guy there. It'll all come in that one box. So
yeah, because everybody that ever listened to us just goes and buys one box. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. Who are you and what did you do with Eric?
Yeah, you got to have it all. I need the whole faction because I need the options.
What is this nonsense that you're spewing?
Now, we already mentioned Legion, which I think we touched on that. That's basically just bigger forces, kind of like Imperial Assault. We mentioned Imperial Assault. X-Wing we mentioned, which was your flight path, dogfight stuff, and Armada we also mentioned. Now, I don't know if there's any more miniatures games out there besides the old stuff, but I mean, it seems like every couple of years something new comes along.
Because you got to capitalize on that IP, especially after they come out with the new movie.
I mean, I'm hoping with Shatterpoint it doesn't make Legion go away, because I know it's different scale battles. Actually, I think the scale of the miniatures are different too. So.
Yeah, I think they went with the larger 35 millimeter, which they did for the superheroes.
Which some people were thinking, I can just take my Legion and port them in. Well, you probably could for casual games, just put them on a different base, but you're still going to need the cards and all that stuff. So you might as well just get the new stuff. It's probably going to have pretty cool poses.
Spend $160. Just like Eric's going to.
I don't know. I'm gonna shop around.
All anybody has to do is look behind you at all your Star Wars stuff to know whether or not you're going to get that
I am.
Mm-hmm. You ain't fooling anybody.
I'm a Star Wars, and they can't even see half of it that's over there. So
I'll text your wife I'll text your wife and just tell her to prepare herself.
I'm gonna shop around. I want to try it at least. I want to at least get the core, try it out. For the show.
I think I would be more prone, as much as I like Crisis Protocol, I think I would be more prone to play that more often than I would Crisis Protocol. I love superheroes, but for something I want to put on the table, a Star Wars game that's emulating that, I think that would be fun.
Yeah. I think some of it for me will depend on the actual what's available, because it's still early. I mean, it's not even out yet. We don't know what's coming. So some of it will depend on what's available. Like scenarios too. Is it going to be fun scenarios?
Right.
Is it going to be like a timed, is there certain turns and then you're done so it doesn't drag out? Because, that's kind of one of the worst things of playing a game is turtling. If you get to an opponent that either just does not want to jump into it and wants to do, try to get the scenario sneaky like, but it's Star Wars. Let's shoot and use lightsabers and all that fun stuff. Force push somebody off a building.
Yes. I'm telling you, man, all that stuff's going to be cool. Hulk is my favorite dude to use in Crisis Protocol.
Because he just wrecks.
You can break everything.
Yeah.
He's break everything. Crush people with buildings. It's amazing. It's so much fun.
Oh, man. Well, I think that does it about for tonight. This tangent shenanigan show that we had. I originally planned to talk about Adepticon, but sorry, guys.
May the 4th.
It's May the 4th. We had to celebrate Star Wars night.
Yeah.
I guess I will take us out, right, sir? It is my
on you.
Turn. So, guys, thanks for joining us for Indie Invasion Shorts. Check us out on all the podcast platforms: Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Pandora, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Cast. Have not said that in a while.
Right.
So we're all over there where you can listen to that stuff. Check us out on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and drop us a line at indieinvasion@gmail.com. We have the link for all these places down below. Please join the Discord. We love hearing what you guys are working on, and you guys can post pictures and inspire everybody else. And if you want some merch, you want to support the show, visit us at redbubble.com, people/Indie Invasion. You can get some hats, some coffee mugs. Well, not this one.
Well, you might be able to get that one somewhere on Redbubble.
You probably could. I don't know. Disney might clamp down on that one.
That's true.
And then, of course, we got a Patreon. You can visit us at Patreon if you want to support us there. But most importantly, we just thank you guys for joining us and supporting us by listening to us banter about what we find fun in the gaming world, one game at a time. But guys, until next time, I got to do this, don't I?
You do.
I got to go to that, and I got to go to that. Until next time, guys, prepare yourself for the invasion. We'll talk to you later.